Are we live? Okay, we are live. Hey guys, welcome back to another dev stream. So लास्ट स्ट्रीम से मैंने कुछ डिसाइड करा है कि आई विल नॉट वर्क ऑन मल्टीप्लेयर राइट नाउ स्ट्रेट अवे. आई विल पहले कुछ मूवमेंट्स पे वर्क कर लिया जाए, उसके बाद फिर हम लोग इस पे वर्क करेंगे मल्टीप्लेयर पे. बिकॉज मल्टीप्लेयर का मुझे अभी डिसाइड करना पड़ेगा कि क्या करना है, यू नो, बिकॉज व्हाट हैपन्स इज कि
shooter game in Unity. This video tutorial series will guide you through everything you need to know, and I'll even provide you with all the scripts and the assets for free in each video if we use any. Remember to subscribe and click the notification bell to stay up to date with every tutorial I upload. Feel free to leave a comment and drop a like. I also have a Patreon page where you can help be a part of this channel, and you can also find all the scripts and the assets to this series there too, along with plenty of other things. You can also now join as a free member. So the game we'll be building will be taking a look at various FPS games and developing a game based on the various traits of those popular FPS games, along with the opportunity for you to develop it further with the skills you'll learn. We'll be making this game completely free and will cost you absolutely nothing other than your time and effort to follow along. So who is this tutorial series aimed for? Well, it's going to be aimed at newcomers to game development world as well as intermediate developers. I will take you from a beginner level in this very first tutorial to an intermediate level by the end of the series, and possibly further, depending on how far you want to take your own experience. Even if you're a veteran game developer, stick around to see just how we tackle things in this version of Unity and the methods we use to achieve the desired effect in this rather unique development series of mine. So what version of Unity will we be working in? We'll be working in version 6. But that doesn't mean to say that this will not work in other versions along the way. It will effectively work in any version from Unity 5 onwards. Some things may be labeled differently, but all of my tutorial series are built to be future-proof as well as legacy-proof. So this first tutorial will explore how to get Unity on your PC, like I have right here. We'll explore the hub, which is this, and we'll get acquainted with the engine interface itself and start building the game. So, how do we get hold of Unity? Well, it's actually very, very simple. You just download the project. What I have right now is correct. If you're more of a, I want the pipeline, which is high definition 3D, 2D, but you don't much about any of these other things. You correctly a couple of minutes to build it. This is the Unity, all of these individual windows. Necessarily mean that the however, if we set this to 0, 0 hierarchy, click on rename, like it, but we can indeed just a plain cube. Hello there, I'm Jimmy Vegas. Shoot again series there. Things neat and in this folder straight into the engine because you can, which is a material to go through a lot of these, at least not yet. Making some kind of information that you can then feed. Didn't want to do that, did it? There we go. Let's try. For the next tutorial. Once we get this game, and remember to subscribe, click notification bells. Hello there, I'm Jimmy. So up until now, we have an area, although it does look rather small, that is playable. We can actually have our character walk around in there if we had one. But how do we do this? Well, beginners, they are helpful in what they do and create. But what helps you develop? How do we get this in our game? Well, and we can go using the assets for their intended purpose. You can just all this really can actually take you to a page where you can find all starter assets. So you've got third person, first person character controllers. Because we're doing a first person shooter, we would want the first person. So if we click on this, you'll see a button here that either says add to my assets or download if you've downloaded it previously. But essentially, all you need to do is once you've clicked everything you need, you'll be able to open in Unity. And it will present you with this package manager. This package manager is where you'll find any assets that you've bought on the asset store, and this is how you can import them into your project. So what that means is it's into your it's telling you that this particular asset relies on certain things within Unity. You just need to install upgrade and it will do it automatically for you. Once you give it a couple of months to download, for me it's already done. Nothing looks too drastically different. We can head in here and then head into first person, head into prefabs, and then we have 4 different options. Firstly, let me explain what a prefab is. A prefab you can think of as a collection of objects and components that can be imported into Unity as one single object. In this case, the object is the player controller. So we can bring that in, no problem. And right now, it doesn't really look like anything. It's nothing important at all. And if we were to go to our game view, we wouldn't see anything different. However, let's press the play button. When we do, you'll notice that the camera doesn't change. However, if we use the WASD keys or the arrow keys, you've then got something moving around. And we can actually use this to our advantage. This is now a controller that we've brought in. Unity, like I said, Unity Technologies has specifically created these assets for people like you, people like me, to learn and create with. Let's head back to scene view. And next to it, we have this called main camera. We have a main camera in our scene. However, this main camera isn't much use to us as it is. So what we can do is if we go to our player capsule just here, click on the arrow, and you'll see player camera root. Drag and drop this main camera onto player camera root. What this will do is it will attach a first person camera that we can use to our first person controller. Next, the original main camera, the one in the white up here, we can disable this. So this little tick right here, click on it and it will disappear. Next, if we go to our game view, you'll notice that the camera has changed. The angle is now different. If we press play, we'll be able to see that our character can indeed now move around with our camera. Perfect. Now, things have become very, I would say, evident at this point that the scale of the wall, at least, is not quite right. So, this is a perfect opportunity for us to change the scale of our game. So, all I did there was hold control and press P. And that is a real quick way of playing and stopping your game. Easy. So, let's now take a look at our scene. Let's now build it up in accordance with how our character looks. What we'll do, control down the green. Do we want to about right? I think we'll stick at this. for now. So finally, let's now build up the rest of this area that we can test in. So what we'll do is we'll Hello there, I'm Jimmy Vegas, and welcome to the fourth video in a series of game development tutorials on how to make your own first-person shooter game in Unity. This tutorial will be covering a gun that actually fires. Remember to subscribe and click the notification bell to stay up to date with every tutorial I upload. Feel free to leave a comment and drop a like. I also have a Patreon page where you can help be a part of this channel, and you'll find all the scripts and the assets to this series there too, along with plenty of other things. You can also know important thing about a first-person shooter is being able to shoot, use a gun. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to zoom in just here, click on play capsule, and we're going to import a gun. And we're going to be able to write a script that makes that gun go bang, bang, bang whenever we click our mouse button. So this tutorial is going to be all about importing, it's going to be about sound, it's going to be about coding. I don't want to drag it on for too long, so I'm going to get straight into it. Now, we need to start by importing a gun. So, firstly, let's create a new folder. So, right click, create folder, and we'll have this as objects. So, anything that we would import into the game, like an object or, well, anything at all, an asset, we could just put in this folder. So, I'm going to go to this folder here, drag and drop handgun, and place it in this folder. And you can go to the linked comment, the pinned comment, and you can click the link in it, and you can download this gun for free. So let's go into this handgun, and you'll notice a couple of different objects. Most of these are not too important at the moment. However, this particular one that you can see the gun in, that is the one that's important. And at the bottom here, if you do have any red text or an error, you can just go to console and click on clear, because it doesn't matter. It's an irrelevant error. So let's drag and drop this handgun into our scene. And it looks huge, as you can see. If we double click, we can see it's a massive gun. We need to shrink that down so it's more appropriate to the size of our player. So let's change the scale to 0.1, 0.1, and 0.1. And let's see how that looks. Does it look too big still? I think so. But the key to finding out for sure is if we go to our player capsule and go to the camera root, let's drag and drop this gun. onto the camera root. And over here in position, let's press 0, 0, 0. And that will put it dead center of our character. And if we click the game view, we shouldn't be able to see anything just yet. But do you remember the first tutorial when we moved some of these tabs around? Well, let's take this game tab and let's snap it over here. Have these both square. And we can move this gun around now, and we should see it appear on the other screen. You can see that's how it would look theoretically in our game. It might still be a bit too big, so I'm going to reduce it just a little bit more, 0.08, 0.08, 0.08. I think that looks a little bit more appropriate, maybe. Let's go to full-on game view and see what it looks like. So let's drag our game, snap it back up here, and I think that looks okay. We'll stick with that for now. Obviously, you can do different things to it if you would want to. Next thing, let's go to this text 009 material, click the arrow, and we can change things here. So the actual gun itself is very plain. There's nothing to it. It's just a grey kind of look. So what we could do is we could drag and drop this particular texture onto the gun. Now you can either do it here, like we did with materials in a previous tutorial, or you can use the hammer and you want it to look. Play around with some of these things, play around with the next important thing that we want to do is import the sound of the gun. Just drag and drop the something like that to the capsule is create empty. And what that will do is it will create an empty game object inside the player. So we can call this audio X this player on lots of different options. Now, and we should hear the gun. So that the gun sound does indeed work in Unity. If we were to loop it and press play, we would have the same sound over and over and over. It wouldn't stop. Cool. What we do need to do is press play. Know that the gun sound does indeed work in Unity. If we were to loop it and press play, we would have the same sound over and over and over. It wouldn't stop. Loop and untick play on awake. The reason we untick play on awake is because we don't want the sound to play whenever we start the scene. So our script a little bit into line by line. And explain to you what it all means, because I would imagine most of you watching this far are probably new to Unity and would like to understand a little bit more about coding. So as this is our gunfire is indeed the same as the map together, and type whatever you in pieces within the script, bring what is going on. Mark rid of bool declare oh you just with uppercase mouse button to fire picture an if statement. So we can say G capital A. So what we'll do is press tab 0 term. Customize these if you well and semicolon. And that's it. Our script is written, a small one, and if you are new, you may have problems. Feel free to go to that pinned comment and you'll find the script there as well, along with the assets for free, and you can go and download it. So let's head back into Unity now. And if you have any errors, which are correct, so we can create everything, this is where we can tutorial. So now we're going to make it look like it is actually firing, and we're going to expand our script even more to prevent us from. Hello there, I'm Jimmy Vega.